how psychotherapy unleashes the higher self. That's one of the most favorite topics I love thinking about, because psychotherapy is a lot about mental illness, what happens if things go wrong. But as soon as somebody does not have a diagnosis anymore, in nowadays society, therapy kind of like stops. But this is where I feel like we're right in the middle of, and we're right in the thick of things, right? This is where we can now start to tap into our higher self, where we can self-actualize and grow and become very mature human beings. And psychotherapy is a tool to get there. Now, you might have seen this pyramid of needs before. It's also called the hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow. He basically talked about is if we come into this world, we start focusing on the lower needs, so the physiological needs, food, water, and sex. Then we preoccupy with safety. We need to have like an apartment, financial safety, generally feel safe. Then we really have the desire to connect and belong, find community, even love, a relationship, friends. And then we focus on self-esteem, achieving something in this world, feeling very confident about that. And only then we start to think more deeply about self-actualization. Of course, this is not like a strict process. That's all like an overlapping thing, but there's our tendencies. Self-actualization is about really finding who you are, because here you are extrinsically motivated. You're really about, hey, I want others to like me. I need money. And I really need to achieve something in this world just to prove myself. But as soon as you have done all of that, you really ask yourself, who am I actually really? What do I love to do? You're not so insecure anymore, trying to prove others wrong or right. You're really more focused on and really truly see who you actually are. Also, your perception on reality is not as skewed anymore because you don't have so many insecurities anymore. So you can just see reality as it is. You're more loving, you're more mature. This is where true competent leadership also starts, at this stage of self-actualization, and you become more intuitive in some way. Now, though, to tap into your higher self, in which I would say self-actualization is your higher self, you need to fulfill those basic needs. And psychotherapy taps a lot into, for example, safety. Of course, there's a tangible aspect to that of just making enough money, but some people have enough money. They're generally fine, but they still feel like they're not safe. Maybe they have general anxiety. Maybe they just have this feeling of, I just need more money. I constantly feel like I could be poor, like I'm never enough financially. I have never enough money. So they still, even though maybe it generally doesn't make sense, but there's still a psychological lack of the feeling of safety. That is something probably also about, again, your childhood. This is where a lot of stuff comes from, where you learned this deep safety need. This is also maybe something connected, to your mother, to your father, how the bonding happened. That's a huge thing, the relationships you build with your parents. Maybe you felt like you can't trust, there's not much safety going on. Belonging as well, right? Feeling you can really deeply connect with people. There may be also even some social anxieties going on. Relationships, how do you bond in relationships? What kind of attachment style do you have? Are you capable to lead healthy and fulfilling relationships, not just for yourself, but also for others? That's how relationships work. What are your patterns here? What is holding you back from forming deep relationships? And even talking about self-esteem, maybe you have this imposter syndrome. You always feel like you're kind of like playing a role, but if people find out who you really are, they would notice you're not competent enough. Maybe you have generally just some insecurities going on. This is where psychotherapy plays a huge role. The physiological stuff is more like tangible stuff. We need some food, water, even the shelter here, like get an apartment, financial safety. That comes before therapy, but then everything that is psychologically, this is key here. And only if you really deeply work on that and transcend that, then you become more and more preoccupied or more and more just transition naturally in this stage of self-actualization. Even if you don't have any diagnosis, Maybe you can just even call this like psychological coaching that you're going through. I would still call it therapy, to be honest. You can profit from this highly to become a very mature, confident, calm, loving human being. Abraham Maslow, by the way, has done so much research. I literally read like 7 books on him because he interviewed like 1,000 people who tend to be self-actualized. What kind of values do they embody? What kind of humor do they have, right? You even have a different type of humor when you're at this stage. And not everybody understands the humor because not everybody is at this stage. There's so much happening within you when you mature as a human being and letting go of all those insecurities and inner conflicts and baggage that you're having. Even though you function well, there is usually a lot of baggage that's just holding you back from really tapping into the higher self, from really self-actualizing. And therapy can be a huge part of that. All right. If you're curious to experience that, there's a link below. You can schedule a call. But also generally, I'm curious about your thoughts. Did something resonate? Let me know in the comments below. Where do you feel like is the biggest work to do for you? Is it the self-esteem part? Is it the belonging and relationship part? Or is it this feeling of like security and psychological safety? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.